Hey ladies and gentlemen, JCF Starcraft here, bringing you a ladder game between PainUser, PainUser who's a little bit surprised that he's actually running into StrifeCro, the Zerg in the red and Pain the blue Terran on Scrap Station. I think that this is yeah, looking at it, it seems like there aren't any observers, so I think this is just a ladder game. And I think PainUser kind of pleasantly surprised to run into a top level player like StrifeCro. PainUser, a very skilled Terran player. I've seen several broadcasts of his, and also a very good commentator too. I've seen him broadcast a few of HD games, and I think him and HD are pretty good friends, and have played a lot. StrifeCro, a very top level player as well, having seen quite a few replays of him as well, and a very skilled Zerg player, so we should see a pretty epic match right now. Looks like it goes pretty late, and here on Scrap Station with a very large rush distance right now. Scrap Station normally had to run all the way down and take this big U to come all the way around to do the attack. So, you know, we'll see whether or not if they really expand and go macro on this game or not. And PainUser probably going to go with some kind of Terran mech build. This was a game pretty much the day that the day before the beta went down, so pretty much in beta phase 2, and a lot of Terran users were at the time, I think, switching from the MM&M, which is the Marine Marauder medic build of the Bio Ball. I think running into a lot of issues with, you know, Bannerlings popping up and destroying their entire army in just a few blasts. So during beta phase 2, a lot of Terran users favoring the Terran mech, StrifeCro here with his Overlord scouting and seeing what PainUser's up to. Meanwhile, StrifeCro throwing down his spawning pool, probably at 14, going to get his, looks like he's going to be getting 14 pool, 16 hatchery, getting his fast expand down. PainUser on the other end looks like he's got the early gas, probably going to go with the Terran 111, really go for the Terran mech, a mix of Hellions, tanks, throwing down his second refinery. Terran mech is very gas intensive, so, you know, we should see what evolves from there. And StrifeCro with, at this point, able to scout out PainUser, kind of reacting, knows that Pain's probably going to go for that 111 build. PainUser with 100 gas throws down the factory, and StrifeCro able to scout that out. So knows that, you know, Pain's probably not going to go for any sort of early cheese, although he threw up his spawning pool just in case. This map, with these rocks being able to be destructible, you can get some sort of early army push and timing, good timing push in there to catch your opponent off guard. So, you know, StrifeCro definitely doing a great job keeping his scout going in. PainUser with a SCV down here, looks like he might be doing something kind of sneaky, and let's see what he's going to do with this. Looks like he's getting ready to possibly, looks like he might be building his starport down here. I'm not sure why this SCV is kind of hanging around down here. PainUser, meanwhile, able to scout out StrifeCro and sees that he's throwing down the Roach Warren, and you know, can kind of get a feel for his opponent right now. Knows that StrifeCro, does he see the, yes, knows that StrifeCro has that expansion, so knows that he should apply some pressure to StrifeCro. And yes, PainUser throwing down the starport down here, so StrifeCro not able to see Pain do that. Pain probably going to be doing some sort of early Banshee harass, or just trying to get StrifeCro on the defensive and get him in the anti-air. StrifeCro, meanwhile, getting a scout in, checking to see when PainUser is going to be taking his expansion as well. So kind of keeping an eye on each other. Meanwhile, working on macroing up, making sure that, you know, he has enough macro, trying to stay ahead of PainUser in terms of the macro game. StrifeCro right now has only 2 queens, so PainUser getting his tech lab onto the starport. Looks like he's going to be pumping out a Banshee pretty soon. We'll see whether or not StrifeCro will be able to scout that out. Has pretty good vision right now of the entire map. Pumps out a few roaches right now for defense. Probably not going to make an attack anytime soon. Really just trying to mass up and get his Zerg macro going. Meanwhile, PainUser getting his tank up and pretty much just kind of, you know, walling in right now in case there's anything going on. But both players just working on the macro game. PainUser about to get his Banshee out. Yes, he is researching cloaks, so it looks like StrifeCro should be ready, upgrading to his hive, so he'll be able to get the overseers and be able to get that detection. Right now, it only has 2 queens. Is he getting? Yeah, he's getting another queen. So with those 3 queens, he should be able to hold off the Banshees pretty easily, especially if he can kind of scout it out before it comes in. And one thing, he doesn't have enough queens yet. He's using the queens to saturate. So right now there's kind of like a disconnect between his two bases, meaning that he's probably going to have a hard time getting the queen and moving them around. Throwing down that creep tumor so that he can move around, and opting for that creep tumor rather than going for that PainUser with his scout going out, looking like he's going down and around on the rally point. And oh wow, that's a great move by PainUser. Knows exactly where the range of this watchtower is, so he can go around. But I think StrifeCro, with a great placement of his overlord right now, is going to be able to detect. Yes, he does see PainUser coming through, so he knows that Pain's coming at this expansion and has gotten the creep tumor down and is vomiting with his overlord, so that his queens will be able to run in here, running away his SCVs. Pain getting off, I think he, let's see, look at the harvester count, 26 for StrifeCro. Now StrifeCro able to repel, has that overseer, is going to stalk him down right now. The overseer is just going to chase this Banshee around, not letting him get any advantage. Pain, meanwhile, having his second Banshee come out, going to be trying to apply some pressure here as well. And StrifeCro right now getting a second overseer, knowing that Pain might be trying to divert. Meanwhile, you know, Pain trying to split up his Banshee so that he's going to catch StrifeCro off guard, but StrifeCro does have some queens, so he can pretty much easily defend. StrifeCro meanwhile throwing down his Hydralisk then, so here comes Pain's second Banshee coming in. Let's see how many can takes out one drone, and I don't, with the overseer stalking him, I don't think that Pain's going to be able to do too much more. So not a huge success for Pain. Has to retreat with both of his Banshees, and meanwhile Pain using that time, using that distraction to build his expansion. So he keeps StrifeCro on the defensive, needs to guard his base, and so he knows that he's not going to get a lot of pressure here on his expansion too. Not quite sure what happened to that. Not quite sure what happened to that Zergling over here. Whether or not StrifeCro moved it or ran it in or did something with it. Meanwhile, looking at research, StrifeCro buffing up his units, going to get now switching to a good mix of Hydras and Roaches, which is a very powerful mix for the Zerg army. PainUser meanwhile sieging up here at this point. I really like this choice of point right here for Scrap Station. It allows you to kind of take out any incoming units in case StrifeCro is going to be breaking through these rocks, but also kind of choke off this section to not allow StrifeCro to break through and take out his expansion and also guard his main. So, you know, the main thing about this map is Pain has to kind of detect and see whether or not StrifeCro is going to go mutas at any point, is going to be coming in with any harass. PainUser doesn't seem like he's too afraid of that at this point, is able to scout everything out. And right now, let's see, he has a Viking come out, will be able to do some harass with that Viking. And right now, the army count, pretty even. Pain a little bit behind in production, but that could be the harvester count. Yes, it looks like StrifeCro definitely is ahead in harvesters, about 12 harvesters ahead. So StrifeCro working on getting his macro game down, so that he will be very set for the mid and late games if we get there. PainUser meanwhile getting his mech army, and one of the things about the mech army I think that Zerg users were getting frustrated was that, you know, the tanks, which are level 2 tech, meanwhile StrifeCro coming in with his with an overlord here, being able to scout out a whole bunch of what Pain's doing, and also it looks like he has these changelings coming in too. So, you know, StrifeCro doing a great job of getting his units down, and being able to scout out pretty much everything that PainUser is doing. Back to the too much action going on at once. PainUser now trying to hunt down any of those rogue overlords that might be wandering around, and StrifeCro kind of grouping his overlords next to his Hydralisk, and now fighting for control of this watchtower. Both of them sending units to combat with that. Yeah, one of the things about the Terran mech is that, you know, Zerg's response to this, for once you have enough siege tanks, you really dominate the ground. There's really no way to penetrate it. And in a Terran vs Terran matchup, you'll typically see that most of the time it's going to be a battle of the air, how many Vikings each other has too. So Zerg players typically have to go Broodlords. StrifeCro taking his expansion, PainUser looking like he's about to float off and try to take this island expansion, which is a pretty difficult one to hold because it's so close to the other base and so prone to harassment. So, but PainUser are going to take that risk and go out there too. And meanwhile, let's see what else is going on in the map right now. StrifeCro running a changeling all the way across the map, and it looks like it's going to crawl its way through. I like this, that he's not trying to bring in the Overseer and drop it off, but able to run it all the way through, because I don't think that Pain is aware. Meanwhile, Pain, using those two Banshees I think has been repaired and bringing them around, getting some harassment on StrifeCro.